everybody, and welcome to the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast featuring Myers Containers. I'm Erin Cofield-Barker, joined by Joe Sinagra, my co-host. He's the operations manager at Myers Containers, also bringing a wealth of knowledge to us here on the podcast. Today we are talking to Tanya Benosky. She's the executive director with the Boys and Girls Club. But before we get to her, that's just my little tease. First, Joe and I get to catch up on the past week.
Yeah.
How was your Easter?
My Easter was wonderful. We hosted 13. I did all the cooking, so it was a nice, fun time and beautiful day, and it was nice and calm. Two nieces, 9 and 4, were over, so that brought me back a little bit. So it was nice. How about? So of course we had ham, of course, and all the fixings. But as a good Italian, I had a from scratch sweet homemade Italian Easter bread. Which turned out very well, and it was a big hit. And then all the fixings, potatoes and all that fun stuff. And my brother-in-law's birthday is coming up, so we did a little birthday celebration for him after.
How nice.
And how about you?
We did, well, so my kids are young, and so we had the whole Easter egg hunt, circuit, and I know I've got some pictures, as promised, to show you of Jack and Ellie, but we did 3 or 4 Easter egg hunts. So Jack is a seasoned pro at that. We did brunch at our friends, and then my husband's parents are local. So we went to their house for the ham and the mashed potatoes and the corn. Ben, do we have the pictures? There we go. Here we come. So this is Jacko with his little Easter basket, loving life, finding eggs. And I mean, they're fun, right? Jack is 3. Oh, there's Bogey. I thought he was maybe going to be in the background today. Jack is the boss of it, but he was a really good big brother, finding the eggs and giving them to Ellie. So that was nice. She was clearly very excited for the eggs that she found. So eventful weekend. We're at the stage of parenting where you don't get to Friday and be like, yes, it's we have the weekend. We get to Friday and it's oh my goodness, this is going to be exhausting.
It will come. It will come. But I actually had a question for you. So I had to run out to the grocery store on Friday night to some things that I forgot. And, one of my problems in life is I'm terrible with people's names, and, you meet people and everything like that. So I'm in the grocery store and I see this guy at the end of the aisle that I knew, but I don't know how I know him, from 20 years ago. So I kind of avoided him because I was in a rush. I wasn't in a great, mood. And so I wanted to kind of avoid him. Well, of course I didn't. So my question is, you're recognizable. You were on the news for all these years and everything like that. You must have some pretty, I can avoid the guy and I can be grumpy and whatever, but I imagine you must have some pretty good stories about running into people who, the local celebrity.
Yeah. Well, so the best is and it's a lot of times it's people I've actually maybe met, or they were a coach or at a sporting event since I did sports. And so I get away a lot of times with just being hey, coach. But random people will often say you look so familiar, or a lot of times it'll be once they start talking and then they're I recognize your voice. And so then I usually just give the humble-ish response of oh, I work in TV, maybe it's that. And I would say 95% of the time that does it, and that's what it is. But one time I said that and they were no, do you go to the Edge? And it was the gym that used to be in Williston.
Yeah.
And I was yes, but now I sound I'm such a cocky person. Oh, I sound familiar, you must know me from TV. And they're no, you're just sweating on the treadmill 2 down. But our running joke about grocery store encounters is because my husband's the same way. He grew up in Shelburne, doesn't want to run into people at the store. And so I'm always oh, did you break your ankle trying to get out of there? Because you walk, you're no, not going that way.
Exactly. That's the only good thing. That was the only positive out of COVID. We all had face coverings, so I could really not interact with people.
Who are you? That's too funny. All right. Well, this seems a good thing to maybe ask Tanya about, because I know she's probably met a lot of people, and she is the executive director at the Boys and Girls Club of Burlington, which means with all of the different families that they have helped, I'm sure she has met tons and tons of different people. So Tanya, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast. And yes, how do you do with recognizing people? Do you remember who they are all the time, or do you have a go-to just this must be Boys and Girls club person.
Sorry, my phone is ringing. That is actually one of my superpowers. I have a really good memory for names and faces, so it tends to work out. Although I think we all have moments where we have to be a little bit humble
Yeah.
and just do our best.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. So tell me about the Boys and Girls Club of Burlington. I know this is an organization here locally that is something that Jeff Myers of Myers Containers is a really, really big fan of.
Yes, I started working here 17 years ago, and I had every plan. It was a 6 month job. I had every plan of going to do something else, and so 3 jobs later, positions later within the organization, I'm here, and I think it is the most special place on the planet. So, in the most basic sense, we are an after school program and a summer camp, but we really have so much more meaning than that. We really work with kids so that they can be the young adults that they want to be. If that's with confidence or education, getting them towards their first good job, we really take great pride in helping develop young people into their best selves.
Now, I think we talk about here at Myers that, I get a lot of credit for the people who pick up the trash. And I know, Tanya, you get, rightfully so, a lot of the credit for everything that goes there. But I see it's, I forget the National Counselor Day. And I know a lot of what your club does is, training young people, and they come up through the club and then they become counselors. And so talk a little bit about some of the young people who are helping to teach even the younger kids.
Yes, well, what I love so much about the Boys and Girls Club is the people that I get to interact with, whether it's people like Joe and Jeff or my colleagues or our board members, but some of or all of the people here who work with kids have so much care, and they are just outstanding at making people feel as special as they actually are. And even on really bad days, there's always a path forward here. And that really is because of the people who work directly with kids and what they bring to all of those interactions.
How does it work? How does a family get involved with, right? If there's a family that is interested in the Boys and Girls Club of Burlington, how do they, I don't know if it's an eligibility thing or just how does it work? Where do the kids come from?
Yeah, so they largely come from this neighborhood, which is the old north end of Burlington, and it's a lot of word of mouth. Someone might hear that their friend had a lot of fun here, or just literally tag along with their friend. And we do everything to make access as easy as possible. So it's $5 a year to attend, and if that's a stretch, then that we waive. We go and pick up kids at schools in different ways. We try to make paperwork as minimal as possible. We do have to have paperwork, but it's important to have kids here, even if they don't have families who can do things like email or fill out forms.
Now, talk a little bit, Jeff, our owner, of course, was a member of the club back a long time ago, and that's one of the reasons why he's so passionate about it and stays involved. So talk about how, if other people want to donate financially, but also, we've all donated our time in different causes down at the club over the years. So talk a little bit about that if other people want to get involved.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the support from Myers and from Jeff is some of the most special support we get because it's coming from the absolute most pure place possible, and knowing what is possible when you're supported in a really special place like the club. So it is true, 85% of our budget comes from local fundraising. The other 15% is government funding, which is all very much at risk right now. And so we need and love financial support. We also have tours we give of the club. They're really storytelling tours, completely inspiring. We have people who come in and cook meals. We have people who come in and clean the building for us as different projects. So there are as many ways to be involved as there are people, and all of them are very important.
Can you remind me, I'm not a huge old North Ender. I've been in and around and I feel like I'm picturing the building near a playground or something, but remind me exactly where you guys are. And then just, I think we have some photos we can show. Just what are some of the activities that kids do when they come to hang out at the Boys and Girls Club?
Yeah, so we're right across the street from Roosevelt Park, which is a place in Burlington that some people recognize. We're also on Oak Street, which is an extension of Riverside Ave. So that big long street that connects Winooski and Burlington. And so, oh gosh, we do so many things. So some of the pictures you're seeing here, that's one of our club alums who's a welder. We've helped support him through welding school. There was a summer camp picture in there. There was one of our students who is a college student who was in a research project at Columbia. I mean, just so much success. But really, the foundation of it all is being a safe, fun place where people feel really good about going.
Yeah, and you have a wonderful pool too, Aaron, right across, right next to the club. That's at. If you go down there, probably not quite open yet, but that I always drive by and you all see the kids playing and jumping around, which that's always a fun time.
Absolutely, and you can also see. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead. No.
This is also a vacation camp day, and a lot of kids are still eating right now. But over my shoulder here, you can see our gym and some kids who are starting to play in there.
One of the other things, Aaron, you're probably not familiar with, but we get hit up to go to a lot of different charity events and things, and they're all wonderful, but not because she's on. They do a fundraiser that's a must, used to be a must attend, but now it's all virtual. They have a silent auction, and the items they get on the silent auction are off the charts, from fire truck rides to going to school in a police car to the owners of some of the best restaurants in Vermont, not a gift card to their restaurant. These Michelin star chef will come to your house and cook dinner for you and 9 people. Now you're talking about, something that would cost thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so the items they have, and they have hundreds and hundreds ranging from $20 to $20,000. It's an amazing auction that they have every year that I look forward to coming up, right?
I was going to say, when is it?
Yeah, it starts in maybe June. It's the very beginning of June, maybe June 1st. And you're right. I mean, I hope everyone loves their work as much as I do. It is Joe's right. It's the best auction in town. You look at it and it's like, well, I want this and this and this. And then before, of course, you've bid on 20 things and wait to see how it all shakes out. It's fun.
It sounds like it's like a lot of unique things, which I love, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, this organization was just like, here's a $100 gift card. This is what we always give, like a ride to school in a police car. Do we get a kid on a garbage truck, Joe?
We did. We had one where we donated our trash truck to come to a party.
Yeah.
Because Aaron, you and I talked about it, and our owner Ryan, Jeff's son, showed up to a birthday party on a truck, and the kids could climb around and pull the levers. It was the smile on their faces was priceless.
No, I love that because it is. It's like, right, sometimes, especially some of the people with a lot of money are like, oh, if I want something, like, I'll just buy it. But it sounds like some of the items are things that aren't normally just like for sale, and so it gives like unique things for people to try and get. And then all of this money raised goes back to you guys, I'm assuming, to help, keep everything moving and being a really fun place for our local kids.
Yep. Most specifically, it goes to support our summer camp. So it's so important and timely and fun.
Is that something that is still open? Is it full for this year? The summer camp?
We're pretty much full, although not entirely, but we will fill. It's interesting. Our registration process tends to lag some others. Again, if you've got a parent who's super on top of it and has internet and computer and knows English and all that, it happens more easily and quickly. Our families don't always do that, so we try to be as flexible as possible.
And you've been there for a little while. Sorry, Joe, it was your turn, but I've
No, go for it.
You've been there for a little while, and so we've talked about how Jeff was a Boys and Girls Club kid when he was young, and now, I mean, he's a community leader, multi-business owner, did very well and had a great foundation through, I'm sure, things that he did and learned there. How rewarding is it for you when some of these kids who were there when they were really little, I'm sure that they maybe, come back and say hi and come back and visit and really appreciate the role that you guys played in their upbringing?
I'm probably getting a little bit emotional, which does happen when I talk about this mission, but there is nothing that is better. To see the lives that some of these young people have built for themselves. I mean, there are too many to even say, but someone came in the other day. He's in the military. There's another student. She's in a nursing program and came in with her stethoscope. And I was at the hospital the other day, and the security guard who let me in was a former club member. There really is nothing better than to see the lives these young people are building for themselves. It's outstanding.
I think one of the wonderful things, last year we participated in a career day that the club hosted, and we get asked to do these often, but what I think the club does that we haven't really seen others is a lot of students just don't want to go to college for whatever reason, and they're looking to get into a trade or they're looking to get into other work. And you host such a wonderful job fair for the trades, be it plumbing or electrician or trash man or others. And we don't have enough of these around the state for people who are 18, 20 years old and college isn't in the cards for them financially or academically, or they just want to get out and work. And it was really encouraging to go there and see a couple dozen employers who are hiring today for, the trades. So, if you could talk a little bit more about that and how that event has grown over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe someday, Joe, we'll make it over for a field trip of your facility there.
Yeah.
It is really fascinating. I encourage really anyone to really learn about modern day careers. And I say that from the very humble place of until you really see what's going on, it's hard to understand what's available. And though I believe in college, and maybe sometimes college is embedded in these different opportunities, there are so many opportunities to learn and to grow and to build a career for yourself that most people don't even know about. For example, we were recently at Green Mountain Power and learned about the line workers and just all the different careers there. And it is true that we work to make sure that people understand all of their options and find really what's best for them.
Well, and the trades are so important. I feel like we always, right, the world has shifted to where everyone always just thinks the whole college thing, like I'm the daughter of a self-employed electrician. Like, right, where the world we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need garbage men. And so I feel like making those opportunities and helping connect the dots for the youth to be able to see their path to earning their own income and having independence and doing things for themselves. I feel like that's like a really great thing that you guys do for them. One thing I didn't ask though, that I did wonder is we didn't talk about the ages for the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, so
you can answer that first,
Boys
and
and Girls Club. So Boys and Girls Clubs is a national network, and I've learned that in the Northeast, we're all rebels. We all kind of like to do our own thing. But traditionally at Boys and Girls Clubs, it's from kindergarten up until 18 or graduation from high school. And what we have made the commitment to do is really help people develop into to young adults and live the life, put them on the path that creates a life that they're proud of. And so we go beyond 18 really to their first job through education, whatever that might be, and to their first professional job.
Our profession here with picking up trash has changed a lot.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated to learn about. It must have changed a lot at the club with all of the different nationalities and languages that must now be spoken. It must be a challenge at times, just from 15 years ago to today. We're here in Winooski, and Winooski High School talks about having 27 different languages spoken in the school. So it has to be a very. I know when I'm at the club, I see all the flags of all the different nations that are represented by club members. So
Yeah.
it has to be a little bit of a challenge, but also has changed a lot over the years for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say the biggest challenge is, what is the biggest challenge of that? It is interesting to see people who are in a new environment and the tension that can exist between wanting to maintain the family, what the family values and all of those customs, and moving forward as someone here in the United States. That's been something that is not an uncommon thing that people have to work through. I can also say that we do a lot to try to make the families feel included, and again, with a lot of different languages. Our response is imperfect, but we do try as much as we can to make everyone really feel like this is their place, and things like language is an important part of that.
Great.
Okay, I ask every guest this question. What is something about the Boys and Girls Club of Burlington that that you're surprised to learn most people don't realize or don't know, or that is often people get it wrong? I mean, the $5 a year thing I was not aware of. That's
here's what it really is. I was trying to think of something funny, like in Boys and Girls Clubs world, I always end up bringing like Ben and Jerry's or Bernie Sanders, and people love all of that. But what really is a surprise to people is how much we do with a $1.5 million budget. And we serve 600 kids over the course of the year. And although we do have a lot of pride in being a safe place, like I said, our goal is to do that and develop young adults. And that probably is the biggest surprise that people mention when they learn more about us.
Wonderful.
I like it. Joe, do you have any more questions?
I don't think so. Thanks for taking the time. This is a new project we're starting, and trying to highlight some of the wonderful organizations we work with, and not because you're here, but you guys are one of the best. So we appreciate everything you do for the greater Burlington area.
Thank you. And right back at you. I love the fact that the club in Myers has a relationship that has multiple different components to it. You all have very, very much to be proud of.
Thank you. She was great.
Yes. It's a great club. We spend some time down there. They do so many events, especially in the summertime, because there's so many more kids, at no school and everything. So we spend a lot of time. Ryan Myers, Jeff's other son, spends a lot of time in the summer down there. He has smaller kids too, so he'll take his kids along so they can experience it. And it's a great club. And we've all heard of Boys and Girls Club over the years, but to really see the stuff, it's a thankless job what Tanya is doing.
Well, and I loved your question about the languages, because I feel like that's something people don't often think of, and even just for like the development of those kids who are there, and like learning how to communicate with every kid in there. And then if you think about it, right, let's think about that gym playing basketball, like there's no language in basketball, like everyone can play, and then they're like finding their own way to like play and get along, and I think it's great.
Absolutely.
We didn't talk about any pets with human names this week.
No, we didn't do that, unfortunately. It's I think the Easter holiday threw everybody off, and it's still digging out, and nice weather now, so people are getting outside. Although it's supposed to, it's Maple Festival weekend, so it will definitely rain. So
Well, let's talk about that real quick because I think it starts today. I'm supposed to go up
starts today.
tomorrow afternoon. I think the kids are off school, so that's the plan in the afternoon if it doesn't rain. But you guys are involved up there, right?
We do. So a couple of years ago, they reached out to us because they started seeing a large volume of recycling compost that wasn't being captured, and they wanted to see how they could try to capture that more. So we 2 years. This is our third year. Started a program where now we're going to end up pulling out about 1,000 pounds of compost that normally would go into the landfill, and a lot of recycled material. So you'll see our red cans around Maple Festival, and it's a great opportunity. It's a great event, and it's Vermont. Now that you and I will never be real Vermonters because we weren't born here. But after whatever, it's been 30 some odd years. It's a Vermont tradition.
Yeah, very cool. Anything else? What's good? What's good this week at Myers? The boss is away, so everyone can play. But Jeff, if you're watching, everyone's working very hard.
Absolutely. So Ryan and Jeff are gone through the weekend, so things are a little bit. We can all take a little bit of a deep breath. So it is a good time. Monday was a busy day with all the extra trash from the holiday, but that's okay. I do have I was trying to get the video, and I'll try to grab it for next week. I had a customer send us a video. He was behind one of our trash trucks, and of course, some of our trucks pick up and they put the dumpster over top.
Yeah.
So it was a video going down the road. It was a raccoon that was in the dumpster, but is now sitting on top of our trash truck. So literally driving down the road, this raccoon, who's alive, just kind of chilling on the top of the trash truck.
Well, his name is probably like Thomas.
Well, yeah, or Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah,
fair. Ricky Raccoon. I'll take that one. All right. Well, I feel like that's good. Anything else new to chat about? Or I feel like we kind of covered a lot of ground here. We got some Easter.
We covered absolutely, and next week we'll probably move into more of the construction side of things, and we're gonna get some builders on to talk about stuff, and it's things are picking up, and if you go to Maple Festival, I'll look forward to hearing your recap of it. Have you ever been?
I went. I think last year or 2 years ago we went. Maybe last year. Very briefly, but so this year it'll be, I think, hopefully a little bit longer. I think it was like a parenting fail when we went. So my bar is set low, and things should only be better.
Well,
it was our fault, not their fault.
A lot of good kid activities there, so especially for the little ones. So it will be you'll have some fun with the little ones.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. All right, that does it for us for another week on the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast with Myers Containers. We'll see you next week.